Have you guys ever noticed some weird after images in anime fights, or an entire scene suddenly darken out of nowhere? That is ghosting and dimming. And One Punch Man Season 2, as I'm pretty sure everyone has already watched, was pretty much full of it whenever it comes to flashy and fast-paced action scene. Yes everyone, today I will be talking about the ghosting and dimming that usually happens whenever an anime reach that certain peak. These two visuals that will definitely show up in Season 3 of One Punch Man. So yes, let's break it down where this issue come from, why it exists, and why it's something completely out of the production team's control. But before that, don't forget to subscribe and like this video so that I can continue to make daily One Punch Man video and probably other video for you guys in the future. Without further ado, let's go on and get straight into the video. To understand why ghosting and dimming exists, we have to go all the way back to December 16, 1997. On that day, Pokémon aired its 38th episode that is called Electric Soldier Porygon. During this episode, Pikachu used an electric attack that triggered a flashing red and blue explosion across the screen, and it lasted only 4 seconds. But in that 4 seconds, everyone, over 685 children across Japan experienced vomiting, seizures, nausea, and other severe health problems, and this incident became known as the Pokémon Shock. This is an actual name, by the way. And the fallout was huge. Pokémon went on a 4-month hiatus, and the episode was actually permanently banned, and suddenly the entirety of the anime industry was forced to reconsider how dangerous flashing lights could be for viewers. And then for years afterward, Japanese broadcasts even started with disclaimers warning kids not to sit too close to the TV and to watch the episode in a well-lit room. A medical study in Aichi Prefecture later confirmed just how serious this was, in which out of 95 patients surveyed, 93 were confirmed to have had epileptic seizures while watching that single episode. Many of these children had no prior history of epilepsy. The red and blue frames flashing at about 12 times per second were enough to trigger what's called a photoparoxysmal response, and to put it simply, the TV broadcast itself caused seizures. And I actually went forward to actually watch the actual scene itself, and let me just say, I understand why people actually experience seizures, vomiting, and nausea because of it, because holy shit, the scene you're watching on screen right now, it's already dim, by the way. It's insane how flashy it is. My eyes hurt, guys. But yes everyone, that's basically it for the origin of it. But what happened afterwards? So after the Pokémon Shock, Japanese broadcasters introduced new strict line guidelines to make sure this never happened again. So the most important one is known as the Harding test. The Harding test checks footage for flashing lights and color changes that could trigger epilepsy. For example, flashing lights can appear more than once every 10 frames at around 30 frames per second, and if footage fails the Harding test, it can't be aired on TV. Now, what happens when anime doesn't pass the test? Broadcasters apply two main fixes, which is the one that we all know, ghosting and dimming. So for ghosting, this effect was introduced in the late 90s as a direct response to the Pokémon incident. Ghosting works by blending frames together to reduce the intensity of rapid movements or flashes, but the downside is that it creates this weird double image effect, almost like the motion is mirrored, and it can range from subtle to very distracting, and it happens in multiple cases. Jujutsu Kaisen, the grasshopper fight, one of the scenes from One Punch Man. So it's very unfortunate that some scenes is getting ghosted, because I much prefer it getting dim than ghosted, but both are not a feast to the eyes anyways. And for dimming, it is introduced around 2013, which is another solution. So instead of smearing the frames, dimming simply lowers the brightness during intense sequences, explosions, energy blasts, or even high contrast fight scenes that will suddenly look darker than intended, in which I would say I would prefer dimming more than ghosting, but there are a lot of cases in which both occurred at the same time, which is very unfortunate that you need to actually watch this, because let me tell you, watching a scene getting ghosted is already a thing, but watching it getting ghosted and dim is just ruining the experience of watching. The fact that the animator works so hard for a very incredible dynamic action sequences that is very fast paced and very flashy, for them to just ghost and dim it just hurts my eyes and my soul to watch scene getting ghosted and dim. Like, it hurts my soul, man. But again, both ghosting and dimming, these two visual effects, protect the viewers, but they also visually distort the anime. And here's the catch: this only happens on Japanese TV broadcasts and streaming services. I need to recheck on this because I'm not sure if Crunchyroll removed the dimming, because as far as I'm concerned, they didn't for Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 until the Blu-ray actually got released, which is the unaltered version, and it is the Blu-ray or DVD. So meaning, if you want to see the anime exactly as the animators intended, you have to wait months after the broadcast. But again, I'm not sure how valid or how correct this is, but I'm pretty sure when Attack on Titan, the final season, the final chapters first aired on NHK TV, it was dim. Then when I actually watched it on Crunchyroll and Netflix, the dimming and the ghosting part has been removed overall, which I am guessing that they have two separate versions of the actual episode itself. Ufotable, on the other hand, actually have a very smart way on fighting against the harding test, which is creating their own version of the TV version, or like a version so that it will get passed through the harding test. But in the Blu-ray version, it looks much more flashier, it has much more impact on the scene itself. But at the same time, in the TV version, even though after the harding test, it still keeps its own charm, meaning the flashy effects is still there, even though it's not at the maximum opacity, but you can still see the flashy effects there, which is again pretty smart to do. But at the same time, is also a great marketing for their Blu-ray, showing that in our Blu-ray version we have a 28% more of this opacity, like it's more flashy in our Blu-ray, so buy our Blu-ray for a maximum experience watching whatsoever. So yeah, it's pretty cool, I guess. Now let's bring this back to One Punch Man. Season 2 of One Punch Man was already affected by this ghosting and dimming thing because of deregulation, but there's actually another factor in play, but again, I'm not very sure about this one, and it is the broadcast time slot. Season 2 aired at 12:45 AM in Japan. Midnight slots like this usually are targeted at older audiences, but they still have to follow the same epilepsy safety regulation. There isn't any solid proof that airing late at night changes the severity of ghosting or dimming, but what's clear is that every show airing on Japanese TV is subject to the same laws regardless of time. So whether One Punch Man airs at 7 PM or after midnight, the broadcast will still be filtered through the harding tests. So here's the bad news. Season 3 of One Punch Man will not escape this problem. Even though One Punch Man Season 3 is being directed by a new director, Shinpei Nagai, and still being produced by JC Stuff, the regulations are completely out of their hands. No matter how talented the animators are, or how incredible the fight choreography looks, or how Kenichiro Aoki is literally animating one single episode on his own, he is not, by the way, I have no confirmation, the TV broadcast will still be subject to dimming and ghosting. That basically means if you are watching week to week, basically following it weekly, as Season 3 airs, you won't be seeing the true version of the show. Explosive battles, insane fast-paced action scene. All of it will most likely going to get visually muted until the Blu-ray and DVD releases. Unless they do what Ufotable did, which is again doing a specific version for the harding test and then release a specific version for streaming services, which is the undimmed version, which again I don't think will happen for One Punch Man Season 3. With the production that they are facing right now, I don't think they have much time to do stuff like that, so I think we need to face the ghosting and dimming for Season 3. This has already happened with One Punch Man Season 2, Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia, and also Attack on Titan. This is why I called it inevitable. It doesn't matter who's directing, who's animating, or even what studio is handling the production, the laws are in place. Every anime on Japanese TV must follow them. So when season 3 of One Punch Man finally airs, don't be surprised if you notice ghosting, dimming, or some strange visual filters during the fights, because it's not really a production failure, and it's not because JC stuff or director Shinpei Nagai is ruining the series. It's simply the result of safety regulations that have been in place ever since the Pokémon shock incident of 1997. And the only way to actually see One Punch Man season 3 in its full undimmed glory will be to wait for the Blu-ray release, and until then, what we watch on broadcast and streaming always going to be the filtered version. This is a problem that is inevitable, which is why the video is called The Problem with One Punch Man Season 3 That Is Inevitable. Get it? And those are basically it. Thank you very much for watching this video, and if you want to dive even deeper into this topic, I highly recommend checking out Framing the Narratives video on ghosting and dimming, which I've linked in the description below. This video has helped me a lot in terms of researching about this issue, the ufotable harding tasks, and this situation as a whole. Again, big shout out to Framing the Narratives video. Please do go on in his video and comment down below I came from Easy Court's video if you actually watch until the end. Those are basically it. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next One Punch Man video. Goodbye!